Hello. Where'd everybody go? All right. I don't know if this is working right or not, but we're gonna find out. So, how you doing, everybody? My name is Sean Chalice. We're here. Oh, it is working. Okay, let's do that. So I'm sorry about that. We're really having a difficult time with the technology today. So just want a big shout out today. It's just supposed to be 11:11. We're running a little behind. So today is Thursday. It is the 26th of March. Today, Coronavirus 19 TV, connecting isolated people thriving in isolation. How are we going to do that? How are we going to move that along? What's new in your world? The new norm is what we're going to call it. Today's topic is personal success formula. Continued affirmations. So affirmations in TV, transformational vocabulary. So just on a side note on this, two people I want to make a shout out to today that actually taught me a lot about both of these concepts. One guy is a guy named John Alexandrov. John actually wrote this book, which was a best-selling author, Affirmations for Wealth, longtime mentor and friend. John passed away at a very young age, in his 50s, from cancer. We really lost a great mentor and a great coach. Really was kind of like a visionary in our business. He created some stuff where he created games to actually teach kids how to use a checkbook and how to be able to think big and write checks, imaginary checks for $10,000, so that when you did write a check for that, you actually could know what that felt like. Really brilliant guy. The second person that passed away a couple of days ago, from what I understand, is a guy named Darel Rutherford. So Darel was an interesting character. He was a long-term mentor and friend. It's Rich Bits is a website that he actually goes by. But up until he was in his mid 90s, Darel would get on a call every week called the being call, and teaching people how to be somebody that they really wanted to be versus trying to always do. Because we were trained as kids to keep doing this, and then you're gonna once you do this, you're gonna have these things, and then you're gonna be this person. The reality is that that whole process we never really get to be. I've talked about this once before, and ironically enough, recognizing we use affirmations every day as a story in our head. So how many times you get up in the morning and you say to yourself, "Oh my God, my legs hurt, my feet hurt, my ass hurts, this hurts, that hurts. I'm tired, I'm old." How many times you get in the car and you say, "Oh my God, I'm old. I can't see. I can't. Oh my God, I can't see. I'm exhausted." Those, believe it or not, are affirmations. And whether you're affirming that it's a positive thing or you're affirming it's a negative thing, either one of those is right. A good friend of ours, he's actually the regional vice president for U.S. Bank. He's a guy named Dean Moran. Big shout out to him and his team. They're really doing a great job. And they are actually working, they're in business, as they say, and they're closing loans. But Dean actually was in our meeting one day and he said, whether you choose to be successful or not, either way, you're right. And your choices are going to define who you are. So let's talk about affirmations and how we can actually flip the script. What do I mean by flip the script? So instead of having those negative thoughts when you're going to bed and when you're waking up in the morning and throughout your day, the average person in the United States, they've done studies on this, the average person in the United States, 85% of what they say is a negative thought or a negative expectation or a negative comment. Having conversations without using words I or me, learning to correct your language as it comes out of your mouth. And instead of, people that spend time with me will find out I don't use the word but as much as most. I don't use the word try. I don't use the word problem. I usually use the word challenge. And that, that was a trained skill. That wasn't, I didn't wake up like that. That was from years of mentors and coaches stopping me midstream in conversation and saying, "Hey, if you have nothing positive to say, don't say anything at all." So flipping the script we talked about transformational language a little bit. How about affirmations? What's a really good affirmation? Getting up in the morning and saying, hey, I'm happy, I'm happy, wealthy, and alive. I'm alive. I'm full of energy. Some people write on their mirror with the marker. I've talked about that for little kids and also for themselves. I've done it as an adult. I've had affirmations on poster boards like this size and put them in 3-inch block letters because I can't see that far anymore as I get older. And then wrap them in plastic and put them in the shower so I could read them while I was in the shower. I mean, there is so many crazy ways that you can actually retrain your brain and recreate the connections in your head and the synapse in your head. So when you get up, you say, oh, what a great day. Or when you go outside and you go for a run, you're saying to yourself, wow, I can't wait to go for a run. My body feels great. So what are some other affirmations? I'll give you a great example of this, and I'm going to say this very openly and probably get in trouble for it, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to be authentic on TV and on Facebook Live. One of the things that I think is really kind of critical nowadays is, being authentic. And years ago, I had an affirmations partner. Big shout out to Denise Swick out in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. One, a very good friend of mine. She is definitely a world-class leader and a world-class real estate agent. When we were both single, we would get up in the morning at 5:00. We would get on the phone and we would say, hey, read your affirmations. So I had 10 affirmations on the wall that I would read her every morning, and she would read me hers. And if you didn't read them by 5:00 a.m., we gave each other $500 checks that were made out to each other that were blank, 5 of them. And if you screwed up and you didn't make the date at 5 a.m. in the morning, 5 days a week on Monday to Friday, you actually got to take that other person's check and go shopping. And Denise actually used her check. She came up to New York on an empty suitcase. I'll never forget it. And said, you missed it. It was 5:05. I don't care what you were doing. Too late. I was like, okay, that lesson learned. Second lesson I learned was I kept saying to myself, I attract highly attractive women into my life when I was single. The challenge was they were showing up with their laundry and they were showing up with all kinds of things. And, they were trying to, at the time, I did pretty well for a single guy. And I'd say they were kind of using me and I didn't recognize it, or I didn't even care at the time. And Denise said, listen, if you're really looking for a spouse, get rid of those girls and find somebody that's actually intelligent, find somebody that actually cares. So I changed the affirmation to, I attract highly attractive women into my life. Then I met my wife. What I really started saying was, I attract highly attractive, intelligent women into my life with their own life. Once I started doing that, I met my wife probably 6 months later after saying that a couple of thousand times. And I met my wife in Vermont, in Killington. Go figure. She's the love of my life and probably the most attractive woman to me on the planet. And very lucky to have had that happen. What are some of the artificial intelligence things that you can do in order to use affirmations in your life, especially right now when we've kind of figured out that this particular challenge that we're having right now out there with the corona and everything else. It's a mind game more than anything else, and it's isolation. How can you get out of your head? One of the ways is to have electronic triggers, have actual reminders that remind you to say, hey, you know what, take a break. Have reminders that say, hey, read your affirmations, read your goals, read your intentions of the things that you want for you and your family. We talked about a power pause. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and actually visualize what it's going to be like when this is over, and what it's going to be like when you go out with your kids on the beach. What is that experience going to look like? What is it going to feel like? What's it going to look like? I'm in the process of training for a marathon, which I really didn't know I was going to train for. And now when I run, there's times when I'm going to visualize the entire run before, like a 14-mile run. I'll visualize the entire run before I start running, so that when I am running, I feel as though I've already accomplished it. And my brain, and where before I was looking for like a flag, or I was looking for a telephone pole or something like that, now I can actually see myself, 100, 300, 400, 500 yards up the hill with a flag going, come on, man, come on, let's go. You said you're going to do this. And it's my inner self having a conversation with me, telling me, let's go. So those are affirmations. What makes affirmations work? You could say affirmations until you're blue in the face and go, I am attractive, I am happy, I am excited. Your body doesn't get it unless you have emotion attached to it. It took me the longest time to figure out that you can't just read them. You have to be emotionally attached to them. You have to be charged to them. You have to be passionate about what you're actually reading and believing what you're saying. If you don't believe it, nobody else believes it. If you believe it, your brain will believe it. Your brain doesn't know the difference. Remember, we talked about this the other day. If you're conditioning your brain to believe that you can do this and there's no reason why you can't, your brain doesn't know the difference, and it doesn't know about the friction on the outside world. It doesn't know about those other people unless you allow them in to talk to you. So have conversations about, gratitude, gratitude, attitude, approach, expectations really change the world. Um, I still remember this, and I'll leave you with this kind of a thought. It's probably 20 years ago. I'm in the car, my mom, and I have a Mercedes truck, and I have one phone in my ear, and I have one phone plugged into the car, and I'm talking to my mom's going, oh my God, we're going about 75 miles an hour up the parkway in New Jersey. Yes, the Garden State Parkway, big joke in our area. Um, my mom says, oh my God, I can't believe my baby is, so successful. And she starts telling me about all the different things going on in her world and all the different people that are driving her crazy in Florida and all the people in her community. And finally, I pulled the car over at about 80 miles an hour to a dead stop. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, we're going to be together for 7 days. I said, if you have nothing positive to say, I can't have you come back to my house because I work at home. I can't be in the same room with you for that long because I spend a tremendous amount of time getting my brain wired for success. And if you're constantly talking about negative things about other people and how they're affecting you and how that environment is affecting your life, and you're not going to take charge of it, and you're not going to take control of the voice in your head, I can't spend time with you. I'll take you back to my sister or my brother's house, and I'll take you out to dinner, but we're not going to spend a long time together. And she literally almost started crying in the car. Case in point, this is a true story. It's probably 20 years later. I go down to Florida to visit my mom. I take my daughter Katie and Patsy. We go down into her house, and Patsy says something along the lines of, if you got nothing positive to say, don't say anything at all, Grandma, as a joke. And my mom got up, went in her bedroom, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she's going to go get a stick or something and hit my kid, right? Just to take it out on her from my experience. Turns out she goes into the bedroom, and when she came up to visit, I gave her 4 or 5 books that I was reading to help condition my brain and understand why affirmations. This book in particular, another book called God, what is it? It'll come to me, and I forgot what the name of it is. It's the 5 Agreements. I'm sorry. It's either the 5 Agreements or the 4 Agreements, which is another great book. Don Miguel, I believe, is the author of that. But she brought those books out, and those books were on her night table next to her bed with Post-its and notes on it and all these things. And she said to my kid, she goes, I still remember the conversation with your dad that day, and it actually changed the way that I perceive things and the way that I interpret things. And it took a long time for Grandma to recondition herself to understand that, and she showed her all the books that she was reading, and she showed her how, like, she had notes in there and Post-its and everything else from like last week. So be careful what you wish for. You don't know what's going to show up. What's your routine? How can you adjust it to inspire you to a new norm? What are the things that are going to work for you? What are the things that aren't working for you? Tomorrow, tune in. We're going to do. We're going to continue on sharing our personal success formula. Hey, by the way, if you have a personal success formula, if you have something that's working for you, hey, share it with us. Get it out here. Maybe somebody else will benefit from that. Also, a good friend of mine, a person that I sold a house for, reached out to me today. I'm going to put it in this post. Her name is Cindy Gatto. Gatto. She's actually working on the front lines in Morristown Memorial Hospital. She did ask that if anybody can bring some pizzas, some bagels, anything, just to lighten their day. We're going to try to reach out to some of the vendors and some of the restaurant owners in the area and see if they can help us. But anything you could do for those guys, I'm going to put a post up here with the extension of their actual department. She is in the critical care unit, though, on the front lines with the people with Corona and stuff like that. So anything you can do for those guys would really be appreciated. I'm going to try to scrounge up some people and some friends and see how we can make an impact. Last thing is go to the Coronavirus TV 19 page. Again, that page is Coronavirus 19 TV. We're going to keep posting those videos there and sharing them there. If you guys have any input, hey, Lourdes, how are you, man? Been a long time. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And other than that, we'll see you on the other side. Hey, by the way, tomorrow is exercise, one of my favorites. We'll look forward to hearing everybody and talking to you. Have a great day.